The movie starts with a man named Hoffman. He walks into a restaurant. Shortly after, the CEO of Optimo Pharmaceuticals arrives to meet with him. The CEO has come specifically to retrieve a report file from him. Hoffman informs him that, as a precaution, a duplicate of that file is being kept by his representative. He explains that if anything happens to him, this representative will immediately hand the copy over to the police. They both leave the restaurant. Another man, Asher, follows Hoffman outside and sends him instructions from a taxi trailing behind. Asher makes sure that Hoffman gets onto the subway and safely makes his escape. It is revealed that Asher is a professional fixer who is acting as Hoffman's representative. Shortly after, Hoffman leaves a voicemail for Asher, confirming that the payment has been sent as agreed. The following morning, Asher travels to a secret location where he places the Optimo Pharmaceuticals file among other documents and locks it inside a safe. The scene then shifts to Sarah, who is being tailed by a man named Dawson. Sarah tells an attorney that she previously worked on a team developing genetically modified wheat. During her research, she discovered a food safety report that revealed dangerous side effects associated with the wheat. When she raised these concerns with senior management, they dismissed her claims, and she was fired 2 months later. Now, her former employer is harassing her because they are aware she kept a copy of the food safety assessment as evidence. Sarah explains that she simply wants to return it quietly and safely, as she does not want the company to harm her. The attorney hands Sarah a phone number, explaining that these people can help, even though the attorney does not know who actually operates the line. The contact will listen to her story and call back if they decide to take on the case. When Sarah returns home, she finds that her car has been burned. The next day, she moves into a hotel and dials the number she was given. In the following scene, Asher arrives home, checks his voicemail, and finds Sarah's message explaining her situation. After listening to the message, Asher thoroughly researches Sarah, including her employment history and social media profiles. He calls her back using a telecommunication relay service designed for people who are deaf. In this arrangement, Asher types what he wants to say, the relay service reads it aloud to Sarah, and whatever Sarah says is typed back for Asher to read. Under questioning, Sarah explains the side effects of the wheat, noting that it causes cancer. Despite this, her company plans a massive global rollout. Sarah originally wanted to go public and even turned down a cash offer from the company to keep quiet, but now she is afraid. A van parked outside her hotel is clearly monitoring her. Asher warns Sarah that her calls are likely being tapped, and inside that van, Dawson's team is indeed intercepting her communications. They attempt to trace the relay calls back to the service office and even show up there in person, but the service maintains no records. The next day, following Asher's instructions, Sarah goes to a public place and activates a new phone number. She tells Asher that her company is on the verge of being sold. If this information goes public, the deal will fall through. Asher agrees to help her return the documents but requires $50,000 upfront. He explains that she will need to follow a series of specific instructions in the coming days. From that point forward, they use a passcode before every conversation. Asher marks 2 phones with different colored tape, prepares several printed documents, and delivers them to Sarah. One page contains detailed instructions on how she is supposed to send the $50,000 in cash, along with the company file. He tells Sarah to take 2 different flights to reach Atlanta. He warns her not to carry her personal phone. Instead, she must travel with the file, the cash, and the phone marked with red tape. He reminds her not to turn on that phone until she reaches the gate at the airport in Atlanta. Dawson's team tails Sarah to the airport, while Asher, wearing a disguise, boards the same flight. After landing, Asher buys a bag and leaves it at the lost and found under Sarah's name. He then calls Sarah through the relay service to ask for her location. At that moment, the Lost and Found department makes an announcement for Sarah, prompting Dawson to check it out. Asher instructs Sarah to ignore announcement and go to the post office to mail 2 packages. When another announcement for Sarah is made, Dawson runs in the opposite direction, and Asher takes photos of the pursuers from a distance. Dawson eventually realizes the announcements were merely a distraction. Sarah provides the tracking numbers to Asher. Rossetti, one of Dawson's team members, watches Sarah toss her receipt into a trash bin, which Rossetti then retrieves. Asher observes the entire exchange. Dawson's team concludes that Asher made Sarah mail 2 packages so the file would be hidden in one of them. Later, Asher explains their plan. Once the package reaches him, they will negotiate a deal, after which Sarah will meet the CEO once to hand the file back in person. When Sarah asks if Asher will be there, he explains that she will never meet him, as he acts only as an intermediary who will return the originals while keeping a copy as insurance. A member of Dawson's crew named Ryan reaches the post office to install a camera. Meanwhile, Rossetti goes to a Michigan post office to inquire about a package, claiming she forgot her locker key. When the clerk finds no package, Rossetti realizes Asher may have used mail forwarding to change the delivery address, rendering the old tracking number useless. Asher successfully retrieves the package from a third post office, which contains the cash and the complete file. Asher then texts the CEO of Sarah's former company, stating he has the report and will return it if they agree to leave his client alone. Asher plants a phone on Dawson's van. Later, the planted phone rings, initiating another staged relay call. Dawson speaks on behalf of the CEO, and Asher uses the call to demand that Dawson stop tailing Sarah or he will leak the file to the media. Asher offers to return the original file while keeping one secure copy, but he also demands a $500,000 fee for breaking the deal. He gives Dawson until the following night to decide. Dawson steps out of the van and signals Asher to come closer, but then, following Asher's instructions, the team drives the van away. The next day, Asher meets with Wash, a woman from his support group who is also a police officer. Both have struggled with alcohol but are now sober, and Wash encourages Asher to open up to her. Meanwhile, Dawson agrees to Asher's terms. Asher instructs him to send unmarked cash through the mail, but Dawson hides a long-lasting tracker inside the package. With the money on the way, Sarah moves around more freely while Asher watches from afar, beginning to develop feelings for her. One day, Sarah misses her check-in, and Asher calls her back. During this call, he initially pretends to use the relay service but eventually transitions into a direct conversation. Their interactions begin to feel less like business, though Asher cautions her to keep their communication to a minimum. Unbeknownst to Sarah, Dawson is still trying to track the calls, but Asher has already switched the phone off. Asher changes his appearance and visits a post office, claiming he is moving to Europe and wants his mail forwarded to his cousin Sarah's mailbox. Shortly after, Dawson leaves a voicemail stating the money was delivered, but notes that the original file is 327 pages whereas Asher only mentioned 311. He demands the missing 16 pages. Asher contacts Sarah about the missing pages, and though Sarah says that the pages aren't important, she admits she still has them. Asher warns her that failing to follow instructions puts her at risk, which frightens her. Asher then instructs Sarah to hide the pages at the bottom of a newspaper. Sarah follows the instructions and leaves, but when Asher checks, the documents are gone because Sarah accidentally placed them in the wrong pile. With the operation starting to collapse, Asher recruits a local beggar to create a scene near the newsstand. In the ensuing chaos, the beggar retrieves the pages and hands them to Asher before Dawson can intervene. Asher calls Dawson, reminding him of their deal and threatening to go public. Dawson apologizes, and Asher sets the terms for an in-person handover at a public location, insisting that both Sarah and the CEO attend. Back at home, Hoffman is collapsing under the guilt of the lives lost because of his company. He tells Asher there is blood on his hands and says he will no longer call. Asher prepares for the exchange and tells Sarah the original file has arrived. He sets up a meeting at a restaurant. However, Sarah does not show up and does not answer her phone. Asher senses something is wrong. Sarah eventually leaves a voicemail saying Dawson identified him as James and that she will handle the handover herself. Realizing it is a trap, Asher races to the new location at a crowded concert. He triggers a fire alarm to clear the venue and finds Sarah. He tells her the passcode and warns her that it is a trap. They escape together in a taxi. They reach the train station, where Sarah must continue alone. After a brief, tender moment, she boards the train. Later, Asher receives a call from Sarah's phone and learns she is now under Dawson's control. Dawson proposes a trade, the copy of the file in exchange for Sarah's safety. Asher agonizes over the choice because revealing his secret location would endanger all his clients. He asks Wash for help and agrees to the meeting. The next morning, Asher arrives at Sarah's apartment, where Dawson's team overpowers him and places him in a van. Sarah is already there, restrained. Dawson threatens Sarah to force Asher to reveal the location, and Asher eventually gives it up. However, Asher fights back, managing to overpower Dawson and another associate. Suddenly, Sarah stuns Asher from behind. The truth is revealed: Sarah was the leader of the group all along. The entire situation was a sophisticated trap designed to reclaim the duplicate copy of the Optimo Pharmaceuticals file connected to Hoffman. They reach the secret location, which requires a password to enter. When they untie Asher so he can enter it, he deliberately inputs the wrong code, triggering a smoke screen. In the chaos, Asher runs, grabs a weapon, and is struck by a passing car while fleeing. Eventually, he and Sarah face each other. Both of them have their weapons drawn. Asher drops his weapon and tells her to go ahead. At that moment, Wash arrives with the police, and the entire group is arrested. Asher explains that he has the documents exposing the side effects of Optimo's products and that the group was trying to steal them. When Wash asks why he has them, he explains that his job is to help people who have seen things they were never meant to see. Later, Asher collects the money from the post office. He keeps half and sends the other half to the relay service workers. He then boards a train and disappears. Shortly afterward, the truth about Optimo Pharmaceuticals breaks in the media.
Please like and subscribe.